What is up, good people? Welcome back to the video version of the podcast. I am shooting this on the go because I am literally packing up to go drive about 7 hours up to the Olympic Peninsula for some very special content for this channel. I think you're really going to like it. But this video is the video version of the podcast I did with my friend Robert Baker. Robert has one of the biggest and best guitar YouTube channels out there. He is an incredible dude, and I got to know him a few years ago on the podcast. If you search Robert Baker Tone Mob wherever you get your podcasts, you'll be able to hear the first episode where we really dug into his story and I got to know him better. This one is just two buddies catching up. It's really, really good. We talk a lot of guitar nerdery. We talk about benders and guitars. We talk about his interviews with Vince Gill, Brent Mason, and a bunch of other people that have happened lately. It's really, really a good episode, and I think you're going to enjoy it. So let me get back to packing, and you can get into this video. Let's go. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Tone Mob Podcast, the show about guitar stuff occasionally, sometimes. I'm your host, Blake Weiland. With me today I have Mr. Robert Baker, but actually, he has me, because I'm at his place, which is a little different.
You're mine.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to let me leave.
Little does Blake know.
I don't want to leave. That's what he doesn't know.
Oh, how the plot has twisted.
Yes, the thick plottins. Here we are. So, yeah, Robert and I were going to do this remotely like we normally do, and we had some stuff come up a couple times, and it was like, I'm just going to be there. So...
Yeah, you said you're going to be in Nashville, so I was like, do you just want to do it in person then?
Like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, when I'm not sick.
Yeah, exactly. So it worked out kind of better in every way, basically.
Got to show off my cool little fold-out table here.
You got this cool table. You got this cool setup in here. That I'm like, wow, I'm such a messy, horrible pig because this is so clean and nice and tidy and all like ready to go. He's like ready to go within 15 minutes, and here I'd be like, hold on, I gotta find a cable. Well, maybe it's under this stack of pedals. I don't know.
Dang it, Bobby.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's maybe a little bit inspiring for me to get my act together back at the shred shed.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, when I'm recording, like doing a video, it's destroyed in here.
Okay,
There's just
good.
stuff everywhere, and then, like, usually at the end of the week, I'm more in the editing phase of a video.
Right.
So then I have to put everything away and kind of get it back in its spot, and then I'm like, okay, I can function again.
Yeah. I'm real bad. I just leave it. And,
you're like, it's going to end up here anyways.
Let me just scoot this out of the way. And then I go in these horrible cycles that the listeners have heard me talk about before, where I go like 6 months without really cleaning up the shred. I clean it, I like sweep up because it's outside, so I come in and out of
right.
it. I like clean it, but I don't like tidy up my cables, and I don't pick everything up, and it's like it gets to a point I'm like, it's unworkable in here. I have to do it, and then I spend 3 days getting everything perfect, and I'm like, I will never again let this happen to me.
6 months later,
oh, it's happened again.
My wife definitely inspired me because she's like a perfectionist, and she wants. Like, she's all about cable management. It needs to, like, look nice, all this kind of stuff. So then I'm like, okay, I'll take the time. And, there's still inevitably cables.
There's going to be.
Yep. But most of them are managed through stuff, and you don't see a lot of them. And even when I was doing the little pedal board thing over there, I was just like, all right, cable management system underneath here. And yeah, so now I'm like, I enjoy it, which is probably weird.
Well, I mean... Yeah, I guess I've gotten to that point with certain things. I'm like, this used to be a chore, but now I'm kind of into it.
Yeah, except changing strings. That still sucks.
That's still horrible. I guess it's probably worth noting, in case anybody's new to the podcast, which there's been a little bit of influx lately. We've recorded before, so this is not a typical Tell Me Your Story episode, because we already did that. So
we know each other.
We already did that.
Go way back.
Yeah. So if you want to hear that story, search Robert Baker Tone Mob wherever you're listening to this, and I'm sure the first episode will pop up if you want to get that story. But the story that I don't have is last time you were not in Nashville.
No, I was not.
What made you make the transition?
I just heard that it was really cool here.
You heard correctly.
Low temperatures at all times, no humidity.
Oh.
And they said they were looking for guitar players, so I was like, "Oh, I figured there'd be plenty down there."
You know, there's hardly any guitarists in this town.
It was very surprising when I moved here.
Yeah, short supply. Yeah, so you can have any gig you want.
Yeah, I was like, you know what Nashville needs? One more guitarist. It's me. I'm the guy.
You are the guy.
No, it was a lot of stuff. You know, it was the school that my son was going to was ending. Like, it only went up to 6th grade, and we were planning on transitioning him out of that school anyways. And just kind of the area we lived in was nice, and around it was kind of starting to get worse and creeping in. And we're like, I think it's time to like move out of here. And I just one day, almost like as a joke to Gabby, I'm just like, we should move to Nashville. And she's like, yeah, why don't we?
Yeah, good idea.
I'm like, oh, okay. And it was like, I mean, like 6 months later, we were here or something like that.
Wow.
Like
happened fast.
Crazy fast. And it was like the second we decided that we were going to move here, like there were so many signs that it was like the right thing to do. The guy who we were renting my old studio from, just randomly as I was paying him rent one month, he's just like, yeah, I'm looking for I need to buy a house here in town because he wanted to run for mayor because he lived on outside. I'm like, you should just buy our house. And he's like, where do you guys live at? And I told him, and he's like, yeah, I could do that.
Okay.
And
all
I'm
right.
Like, awesome. And then he had like a thing for the number 7. For some, like, it was like just one of the things. Like, he loves 7, everything equals 7, all this kind of stuff.
Okay.
And our address was 777. So when he pulled up, and he's like,
this is it.
This is it.
Yep.
This is the house. And he did. It was like right away. He's just like, hey, you know, let's do this. And we're like, oh, okay. Sold the house without even trying. Like, never had to list it or anything. I'm like, man, if that's not a sign that, you know, this was meant to be. And then there were so many things after I thought about it. I'm like, man, I think I know more people in Nashville than I know in Ohio, and I've lived here my whole life.
It's starting to be that way almost for me too. I'm like, oh, I need to, every time I come here, I come 2 or 3 times a year. I'm like, oh, I need to see so-and-so. Oh, I need to see so-and-so.
Yeah.
I missed, and I go back home, like, I missed like 20 people. And it's strange. I mean, a lot of people have flocked here. It didn't all happen at once, but it felt like it kind of did. Like, a lot of my friends that were in California ended up in Nashville, and then people just, it's become a hub even more than it already was, I feel like, in the last decade.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, just for one, the people you bump into, just go to the guitar stores. That's all you have to do. And I'm telling you, you will run into everybody.
Everybody.
And it's like the cool people that you like I'm a huge Bonamassa fan, you know. And I don't know Joe or anything like that, but I was just like at Glazer's getting my guitar dropped off, and they're like, oh, Joe's here. And I turn on and walks by. I'm like, wow, okay. And it's like that all the time.
And I was just at Glazer's yesterday.
Were you? Yeah. and that's not meant to be like name dropping. I don't know Joe at all. He just happened to. I'm like, that's just like, where else would this happen? Like,
exactly.
This is Nashville.
Well, it was weird. This was like a little bit of a, well, not a little bit, definitely a imposter syndrome type moment, because Scott and I were there. Just looking at the Chiari guitars. They were at the NAMM Next thing, which is why I'm in town. And they were like, come on after to this thing. And I was like, I walked in, I was like, wait, I've been here before. Isn't this? Like, wait, this is Glazer's shop, and Sean Payton's here. And like, I'm like, wait a minute. I'd totally forgotten that I'd been there before. Yeah,
they were house. Yeah. Well, and I mean, Glazer's is like the coolest, because who would ever expect it? Like, You pull up, there's no sign.
Nope.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Like, you have to know where it is. And, I mean, all of them, Aaron, Nick, Joe, Josh, I mean, just the coolest. Clyde, I mean, all of them are just the coolest people in there.
Yeah. Yeah. It was the imposter syndrome moment kicked in when Joe came over to talk to Scott and I. and he started asking us string questions. And I'm like, why is Joe Glazer asking me questions? It shouldn't be a thing that happens. This is really weird. I get it. Like, I understand it rationally, but it felt really strange because if you're a guitar nerd at all, you've heard his name before. He's like the tech in Nashville. I know there's a lot of incredible techs in Nashville, but he's probably the most well-known, I would guess, at this point.
Yeah, I would say he's world renowned.
Yeah.
Everyone talks. I mean, you have people bring in their 59 Les Pauls in there to be refretted.
Yep.
You know, and I mean, not that Joe does that stuff anymore, but like Nick does.
He's driving the ship, though.
Yeah, as we say, you know, who taught Nick how to do it and do all this kind of stuff. So it, I don't know, that whole thing is cool. And there's a cool music store down there that just opened up not too long ago. What's it called? Music City Vintage. Did you happen to go to it?
No.
It's right in that Berry Hill area. It's like a road over from Glazer's. And they had so many cool... As soon as I walked in, they had an old Ibanez Destroyer.
Nice.
I saw it across the room. I'm like, is that a Destroyer?
You're like, oh.
Yeah, and it had like a broken headstock and... switched pickups. And I'm like, man. And they still wanted a lot for it. But I was just like, my inner Eddie was just like... That's an Ibanez Destroyer.
Like, let me get that.
Yeah. let me saw it up and turn it into the shark guitar.
Absolutely.
So I can hate it just like he did. But no, it was cool. I mean, they had tons of cool guitars, super nice. And I hadn't been in there yet. That was like a week or so ago that I went in there. So.
How long has it been open? I thought I knew every shop in town, but apparently not.
Yeah, I don't know. I heard of it because of a guy. Did you watch JD Simo at all?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love JD.
Yeah.
I have a Guitar Stories video coming up with him.
Oh,
and it's the
dude,
coolest. He's the coolest.
You're gonna love that. He was on the podcast several years ago, and it's one of my favorite episodes. I love that dude.
He's such a cool guy, cool player. But he was talking about it, and I'm like, "Where's the store at?" You know, and he's like, "Oh, it's right on my Glazers," and I'm like, "Oh, I'll have to go in there sometime." And I remembered the other day when I was trying to kill some time, and I'm like, where's the store at? So
this is such a Nashville conversation right now.
Yeah.
It's whenever I come here, and if I do a podcast with anybody from here, we just start talking about the town because it is literally my home away from home. Like, I can drive, not like an expert, but like I can like just go places here. Like not pull up my maps like, oh yeah, I know where that is. I'm just like, weird. It's so weird to feel. I feel very at home here. But, But at the same time, when I go back home to Portland, I'm always like, no, but this is where I belong, actually. You know, it's weird.
You think you'll ever move here?
I doubt it.
You don't think so?
I doubt it. I've made it work this well for this long. I don't see it really happening. Mm-hmm. Part of me wants to, but then the other part of me, like I said, I go back to Oregon. And I'm like, nah, this is my spot.
Yeah.
I'm just such an Oregon boy.
Are you? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of how I thought. When I would go back to Ohio, I would feel that way and stuff. And then I'm just like, no, man, I love Nashville. Like, so it's weird how inviting the town has been.
Yeah.
Like, I thought for sure it'd be like, no,
get out of here.
Yeah, another guitar player. Like, we're good. You know,
we've got it handled.
And it's the exact opposite. Everyone, you talk to them, and they're just like, oh yeah. And I'm like, oh yeah, do you want to do a video? Yeah. Hate to be that guy, but.
I mean, how can you not? The having access to just because of the proximity makes it so much easier to do. I tell you, I'm kind of a night owl, and I watch a lot of your stuff. But when I saw the Vince Gill video pop up, I'm such a huge fan. I was like, I know what I'm doing this evening.
Yeah,
I watched it like a couple times. I was like, this is the coolest thing.
That was one of the cool, and it took about 6 or 7 months to get it ironed out because Vince would be free one week and he's like, oh, I gotta go do this thing with the Eagles, and I'm like,
yeah,
the
with
Eagles,
who? Yeah,
like no,
yeah, come on,
yeah, but then he's like, yeah, I'm going to Europe and all this stuff, and then it finally he's like, yeah, man, just swing by on Wednesday
like,
or something.
I'm there.
I'm like,
whatever plans
let me check
I had,
my schedule. Yeah. Yes, yep. I'm there, Vince Gill.
Everything is canceled.
Yeah, so that was super super cool because I mean, I've listened to Vince Gill my entire life.
Yeah.
I mean, like that was I remember when I was trying to get a telly, and my dad's like, "All right, there's one guy you got to listen to. It's Vince Gill." And I remember watching this video, and funny enough, it was one of the first times I ever heard Brent Mason. There's a video of they're playing. I can't remember the song, but Brent does the crazy intro and all that stuff, and then Vince does this wicked blues solo at the end of it, and I'm like, wow, what a tone! I mean, like that. But then, discovering Brent Mason, he's one of my favorite. He's my favorite country guitarist of all time, but he's just one of my favorite guitarist of all time.
Yeah.
I'm like,
weirdly enough, like obviously I'd heard Brent Mason a million times without realizing who I was hearing.
Right.
And that's probably goes for most people, I'm guessing. Maybe not at this point. I think at this point he's pretty well known. But
yeah,
my first intro to him was through Wampler, and or at least my first intro to him in a knowing who he was capacity.
Yeah.
I heard Brian talking about it, and I'm like, "Who's Brent Mason? You're always talking about him." He's like, "You've heard him."
yeah.
And then I realized, oh yeah, I actually know all of his stuff practically.
Yeah.
I just didn't know I did.
I mean the whole 90s. I mean, he literally changed the way country music was. Like he gave it the sound. I mean, it was like that was all they wanted people to do. Was like if they couldn't get Brent, like who can sound as close to Brent as possible. And I
was actually trying to get an episode with him while I was here, and he was playing with some guy named Post Malone or something. Some
that guy.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
probably doing Pickup Man.
Yeah,
they
like, oh, sorry, I'm doing it with Post Malone the week you're here. I'm like, that. I guess that's an excuse.
Yeah. He's a total. So the next Guitar Stories that comes out Sunday is with Brent.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So it's like an hour long. I'm just let the video roll.
I know what I'm doing on Sunday.
Yeah, it was awesome because one of the coolest things with any of these people is they always hand you the guitar, their guitar, like, oh, just play it for a second. Like after we turn the cameras off and stuff, just play. I'm like, that's the cool. Like Vince,
what?
Vince was like, you just got to really feel that neck. Here, just play it for that.
And you're like, ah.
And then Brent did the same thing. And I'm like, dude, this is the telly that I've heard everything, all the Brooks and Dunn stuff, all the Alan Jackson, all this stuff. I'm like, I've heard this telly since I was about probably 7 or 8 years old.
Yeah.
So
not just the model, the guitar that was on the recordings.
Yeah. I'm like, this is wild. And and none of them have been like easy to play. Like you think they would all have like super low action and all this stuff. I'm like, oh, the action's high. It's kind of hard to play, and like
interesting.
And they just tear it up on them.
They just go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, in Vincent's episode, I don't know what I expected, honestly, but for some reason, like I picture him. I think this is my dad's fault. Because my dad's always been like, Vince just seems like a guy I'd want to sit on the porch and play guitar with. And so I always like pictured him on a porch for some random reason. But when he was in like his guitar room, I was like, oh, that's life goals right there. That's beautiful.
So his room was so cool because he was like, do you want to know how bad I have like the guitar disease? Like how bad it is? And he's like, look at the walls in here. And I'm like, what about him? He's like, you know what that is? I'm like, it looks like tweed. He's like, because it is tweed.
Because
the whole studio is lined with tweed.
That's amazing.
And then the ceiling was like the mesh from an amp.
Oh, are you serious?
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, like his whole you didn't get to see the ceiling in the video, but
I'm gonna watch it again. Look, more views.
Yeah. It was. I was like, that's the most like guitar nerdy thing ever, and I love it. Yeah, he was just like. He's like, there's just no help. I'm too far gone.
No, why bother? It's worked for him this long.
Yeah.
Why bother?
It's like Joe Bonamassa. Have you ever watched? I think it's one of his more recent, like Welcome to Nerdville videos.
I haven't seen a recent one, but I've definitely watched them.
I think it came out a few months ago.
Yeah.
So recent, you know. And his cabinets in his house, like his kitchen cabinets, are all Carina. And I'm like, I love it.
Yes.
He's like, I thought it looked good, and guitar.
Yeah, so why not, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't have afforded the cabinets without the guitar.
Yeah.
So it goes to, why not, right?
I'm like, yes, I love that. Like, that's like the next level. Like, I'm not there yet, but one day.
One day
I'll be there.
Yeah, one day. I mean, yeah, it's weird how it almost is like there's a million things you could do for a living and somehow, and it was just, I've been talking about this all weekend. Like, somehow, this town in particular, just everybody's so passionate about it. Everybody's so excited about it, and I feel like that's part of the magnetism of it. Like, if you're not really into music, you probably, like, especially in the last decade or so, you probably aren't moving here, most likely.
Yeah, and I will say, I love guitar. Super obsessed with it. Have been, for 15, 16 years, however long it's been. You get around some of the guys here, and you realize, like, oh, this is a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Like, I thought I liked guitar. I don't compared to these guys. Like, it's crazy. Like, they'll, be in a session 12 hours and go home and play more guitar. Because, like, I really want to work on this one thing. I'm like, I'd be done with guitar for the day. And they are just like, they literally just eat, sleep, and breathe music and guitar. And I'm like, it's inspiring to see, but I'm like, it puts it in perspective. I'm like, I don't know jack about guitar compared to these guys. Like,
well, and just the obsession that people can get to with music in general. I just did an episode with Travis from Coheed and Cambria, and
oh wow,
it was awesome, and we really hit it off. It was fantastic. But I would think that somebody like that, who's been in a successful band for as long as he has, would get, because like even I find myself, I'm like, I love all this so much, but I'm in it every day, all day.
Yeah.
I just want to read a comic book or watch a movie sometimes at the end of the day. And he's like, yeah, me too. But I'll be reading a book about music. Like, about the history of a band or something. And I'm like, I will do that too. But that guy, he's like that. He's obsessed, not necessarily with guitar in particular. He loves guitar, obviously, but just music. Like, everything that he absorbs for entertainment is music related in some way, and everything he gets excited about obviously he does other things too, but the way he was kind of describing it was he breathes it, and like you said, I feel like I do, but then there's levels to this.
You get around some of those guys. I mean, my wife always makes fun of me because she's like, aren't you just sick of guitar? Because if I'm not, I still play guitar, practice every day and all that kind of stuff, but I'm usually watching. I will say I usually watch guitar videos. It's not like I don't watch anything else really. And she's like, "How do you like? Are you not sick of this?" Like, I'm like, "Sick of what?" She's like, "Well, you were just playing guitar, and now you're watching, Doug Rappaport demo an amp or something." I'm like, "Yeah, what about?" And she's like, "And then you're gonna go watch some podcast about guitar and like all this kind." I'm like, "I guess that's true."
Yeah.
And then, until football season rolls around.
Oh boy, here we go.
Yeah, buddy.
That's something. Yeah, I've never really gotten into. I've tried.
Just sports in general, or football?
It's weird because like I have sports. Like I'm very like kind of nichey with sports. Like I'm not into basketball, but nostalgia dictates that I'm a Portland Trailblazers fan. Things like that. Like I think that I'm not into it, but then I'll catch myself like, what's going on with the team? But I'm not paying super close attention, especially right now. It's abysmal over there.
Yeah.
I'm fans. It's almost like I'm a fan of the brand of the team more than I am actually the team.
The team?
Which seems like a poser move, but
you poser.
But I can't help it. I grew up with my family like watching it, so I love Blazers memorabilia and like things. But I don't keep up with the teams really.
What's going on with the team?
And I liked playing basketball as a kid, but I'm obviously not super built for it. And
you're not 7 foot tall?
No, it's weird. I barely come up to your knees. I've always been more of into like individual sports for myself. So like things like I've always been interested in boxing and powerlifting and things like that. They're just more like
cool too, though.
Focused on that kind of stuff. I don't know why. It's just something about putting it all on one person or yourself that is just somewhat more interesting to me.
Yeah.
Which obviously isn't the case because neither of those are the most... Well, boxing's pretty popular, but it seems like it's losing ground to MMA a little bit.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, I've always... The only Ohio team I don't like are the Cavs. And then I'm like... I've been like... Since I was a kid, diehard Laker Kobe guy my whole life, and then Indians, and huge Cleveland Browns fan.
Huge
Cleveland Browns fan.
Is that something that started as a kid, or?
Yeah, I mean, I liked the Browns even whenever they left, and we didn't even have a team. I just had no team as a kid because there were no Cleveland Browns for a couple years.
Okay.
And then our arch nemesis, the Baltimore Ravens.
The Baltimore Ravens.
Except for Flacco, you're cool. But
yeah, it's a weird disconnect I have with like a lot of my friends. A lot of my friends are way more into it, and they're just like talking about sports, and I'm just like, in my brain, I'm like, like, like often, like, I don't want to be a jerk, but I don't care.
I could not care any less about this.
Like, you know how I'm talking about like different style of fret ends?
Yeah.
That's how I feel right now. Yeah. But yeah, it's an interesting thing. But I'm really excited to like come in here. I know this isn't to the same level of your old studio that you had, but you've really got it dialed in here, and you've got a fantastic array of guitars and amps.
Oh, thanks, man.
It's very, very nice. Very aesthetically pleasing just to look around.
Oh yeah, I mean, this house we were talking before, we're renting, so it's limited what I can, do to the walls and all that kind of stuff. So, once we buy a house, then it'll kind of be like, all right,
here we
everything
go.
out.
Do you think you'll keep it in the house, or will you go? I know you talked about trying to get some more property. So you think you'll try to build something? Or?
Yeah, that's the idea. Is to build. I really liked the studio we had before this one, which was completely. It was a little bit too far away from the house. I mean, it was like a 10-minute drive. It wasn't that far, but it was still far enough where you're like, I don't really feel like going into the office today or something like that.
Got to drive all the way to work on a Saturday.
Yeah.
All the way to work.
Yeah. And it was, it was a huge, it was either 1,200 square feet or 1,500 square feet. I can't remember. It was big, and it had a full basement and everything. And, it was great because everything's cheap in Ohio.
Nice.
So
yeah.
Here, something like that would be, like $10,000 a month.
Like, not exaggerating.
Yeah, no, I'm like, okay, so obviously I won't be renting any kind of, studio in Nashville.
Right.
And I've kind of liked actually downsizing everything and just having like a normal like home studio again.
Yeah.
It does everything. All I do is play guitar, so it's not like I need like a drum room and all that kind of stuff. So
I feel like I've found by accident. I think I've found like kind of the sweet spot for me. It's about I think it's like 305 square feet if you count like the closet-ish,
which is
area.
Good guitar space.
Yeah, it's I can put a lot of stuff in there. But not too much stuff. I've thought like, well, maybe I'll expand it out the front a little ways, and like you're getting
it's
insane.
Dangerous.
Stop it!
It's
Stop
dangerous.
it! Like,
don't step away.
It does feel like kind of a sweet spot, though. It's like that's pretty big, but it's not so crazy that it's hard to manage. I mean, despite I should say any more difficult for me to manage than my chaotic tendencies are already leaning towards. So I like that. And when I was planning on I think we talked about this off the air too. I was planning for a little bit. I was maybe gonna buy some property and build another spot, but kind of holding off on that for now. But I was like, oh, I could double the space. I could and I was like, should I though? Or are you just gonna fill it up with empty boxes and dumb things that you shouldn't be keeping? Like, yeah, I don't know.
That was, like I said, that was the thing. The other studio was so much more than what we needed. Like, we had a whole like seating area and all this kind of. I'm like, never used it.
Right.
Like, never used half the space.
Did you record bands? Because that's a big place. Did you record bands or projects in there outside of the YouTube stuff?
No. And like I said, what was crazy was, like I said, we had the full basement, which is also 1,200 square feet under the studio. And someone had already drilled holes through the floor. So I'm like, oh, I could like put amp cabinets down there and run cables and do all this kind of stuff. And I was just like,
just didn't need to.
No, and then I think we were there for 2 years, almost 2.5 years. So it was awesome to have all the space and everything. But like I said, a lot of times I just come up here, and I'm like, I don't know, it's big enough.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, and I
So.
think a lot of that too is, you know, the again, things we were talking about off the air, but the technology now. I mean, I thought I was going to be the reason I built that place. It's fairly well. It's as isolated as I could afford to make it. Basically, it's like 2 layers of 5/8 drywall. You know, room within a room type of thing. All that jazz. And I did that because at the time, I thought I was like, if I want to get the sounds I want, I have to play at least moderately loud amps. You know, and I'm gonna mic them and all that. And I did for a long time. That's how I recorded. But with like the tube amp expander and the aux and things like that, it's like I don't need to, and it sounds just as good, and I'm still playing the amps that I like, the actual amps. So the technology, I mean, I never dreamed I would be playing direct in as much as I do now, like all the time.
Yeah, well, I think I've like regressed. I just turned more into a caveman because I used the Axe Effects for probably 8 years, and that was it. I was just like, I don't know. It's easy. I still like to use it when I record like courses and stuff like that, just because the amps put out so much heat, and it's already like warmer. In
just
here
with two dudes
and a light, and the obnoxious lava lamp, and just radiating heat over there. But I mean, you get a couple of the amps turned on, and it is just a sauna in here. But I've gotten to where like I love using the amps and stuff. You know, it's fun. It's fun because they're kind of like ugly almost.
What do you mean?
They're hot and they are all noisy and all that kind of stuff. That camera turned off, I just realized.
Uh-oh.
No space on memory slot 1.
Oh, should we pause?
Yes.
Okay. Pausing, people. We'll be right back.
Sure.
Okay.
220?
Or excuse me. 220.
I was going to say, we're going like back in time, or
We're going back in time.
we're back.
Okay.
In time.
I did the math wrong, but I think we're actually going to time travel.
Yes.
Yes. Anyway, we're back, people. Sorry about that. The content was so good, it filled the hard drive.
It couldn't handle it.
It couldn't handle it.
It didn't know what to do. It was just like so much. I mean, we're just writing gold
It is just
over here.
Yeah, we're not at all just blabbering on endlessly, just with whatever comes to mind.
Enjoy editing this.
Edit. You're so silly.
Funny guy.
Yeah, edit. If by edit you mean cut out the intermission and throw the rest of it into the internet.
Leave it all in there. The 10 minutes of me like trying to figure out why the camera stopped and
us going phenomena. Phenomena. Yeah, that was good stuff. Good stuff. So you mentioned you've got the upcoming Brent Mason. Do you have any other interviews coming up that you can talk about or want to kind of prep people for?
So I have the one with JD Simon. So I already have that one shot.
Yep.
With JD. She was awesome. I have one shot with Sean Tubbs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. And then again, I think it's gonna be one of those that just the planets have to line a little bit more. But supposed to do one with Joe Bonamassa.
Yeah. That's killer.
Yeah, which will be really cool. So and then
he splits time. Yeah, because he's got the East and West Nerdvilles, right?
And he's got one in New York too.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Got 3 of them.
Oh man.
And then
I was worried about building an extra 100 square feet on the shred shed.
Right. So, I've only talked to him through Instagram. So it just takes time.
It's one of those things. Yeah, I mean that's my life. It's like message people, talk to their managers, whatever. Like,
yep.
Yeah. Did you have to go through managers for any of these people, or did you be able to just get a hold?
No, I was. Luckily, I was friends with people they were friends with, and they just reached out to them, and they were just like, "Oh, this guy's doing these guitar videos, and he mentioned he wanted to do one about your 53 Tele." Yeah, swing by and
of course. Yeah,
absolutely.
You mean I get to talk about guitars more? Yay!
Yeah. So that one was cool, and then one of them, which is another kind of like guitar hero of mine, who I've talked with a little bit about doing it. And again, apologize. It sounds so name droppy, like naming all these people.
I get it. I asked for it.
It's not the intention because I don't care about doing that stuff. Mm-hmm. But Dan Huff, I've talked to him a few times, which to me, Brent Mason, Dan Huff, I mean, those two alone, then you can get into Tim Pierce and Lukather and Landau, like all this kind of stuff. But I mean, I just love Dan Huff's playing.
Yeah, it's
so
incredible.
Much, especially his like stuff he did in Giant. Man, those first 3 albums, it's so good.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird, and I know what you mean about like trying not to name drop, but because sometimes it really sounds like that's what I'm doing, and I'm like,
it's not the intent.
No, that's just what I mean. I'm just lucky that I talk for a job, so like I have to talk to somebody, and oftentimes it's cool people, or people that fortunately, because I'm constantly trying to chase down people. It sounds that sounds weird too, but I am.
I call it like I see it.
Yeah, I'm always like emailing managers or DMing people or whatever, because a lot of these people are super busy and they don't have time, and that's totally cool. But also, the worst thing I can say is I don't have time right now, and then I'm like, that's fine, that's cool. Like, I get it.
I always tell them, I go, as long as you're okay with me bugging you, you're not bugging me. Just keep at it. Eventually, it'll line up, and like, I mean, that's the way it happened with Vince. It took 6-7 months, and I was working with Huff before that, and and he's like, I've just got too many projects going on right now, and just kind of like, it just is what it is. But.
And I totally understand that too, because like I got too many projects going on right now. Like I have things I got to focus on. I have to get the episodes out once a week. That's what I do. But like I have to turn stuff down now sometimes, or at least say not right now. And I feel kind of bad. Like I don't want to do that because everybody's been so gracious with their time, including yourself. Like to like do this with me. I actually need to do this. Like and you don't, necessarily. So
well, I mean,
so I appreciate it very much.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I always feel really bad when I have to be like, oh, I can't do that right now, which is it's not all the time, but it does happen, and it feels weird. I try not to. I try to say yes to as much stuff as possible because I like doing it, and people do it for me.
Yeah, and I totally get where you're coming from too, because it is hard to say yes to, everyone, because there's always some.
It's 24 hours in the day.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like. And
I like to sleep.
Yeah, actually, I don't sleep at all. So.
Oh no, maybe I'm stealing some of it.
No, I go to bed at like 2 or 3, and then I'm up by like 7. I'm like, all right, let's go.
Really?
Oh yeah,
and you're like good at that point?
Yeah, like, I don't need caffeine or anything. I just wake up and I am. Good. No coffee. I don't drink coffee.
I need sleep so bad. I'm so bad. Like I go to bed like 2's late for me, but like usually around 12:31. And if I'm up before 8:30, it's bad. It's not good. It's
man.
And then sometimes I take a short nap, like 20 minutes. Like
gotta schedule my nap in for the day.
It's usually like when like my wife goes to pick up the kids. And she's like, sometimes like, oh, we're going to go to grandma's for a little bit. I'm like, oh, are you? Click, 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 click.
In the recliner.
Yeah. And then, but it's literally like 20-minute power nap and I will be a brand new man.
Really?
Yeah. And I wake up, I'm like, ha! Go to the gym or something.
I don't power nap. If I go to sleep during the day, like I always say, like I go into like a food coma. Like if we go out to eat or something, it's like 3 hours. Like
I have to set an alarm.
Yeah, there is no like quick little nap. But typically, and I think last night I went to bed at 2 something, and then I was up by 6. I think doing stuff.
I mean, people are built different. Like I would be a train wreck and mad.
I would be so upset.
I would just be upset at
everything.
Like, I love you. Shut up.
You don't even know all this.
Yeah, you don't love me. You couldn't possibly love me. Not in this state. Yeah, it's and then my wife makes fun of me. She's like, "You're such a baby." I'm like, "I know, but at least I know it.
Yeah,
I know what I need.
Oh,
I need 8 hours of sleep is what I need.
My wife needs sleep. She like by 10 o'clock, she's like, I can't stay awake. I have to go to bed now. And I'm like, all right, I'm just gaming with the boys.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also take a long time to wake up, which is annoying.
Do you?
It's really annoying to me too, because I'm like, come on,
come on,
come on. And my wife wakes up, she's like, hey, hello, what, ready to go?
Yeah,
like,
okay,
oh.
that's the way I am. And Gabby and Mason hate it because the second I'm awake, they're like, how do you just like you spring into it? I'm like, I'm awake, let's go. You know? And
I wish.
they get so annoyed. They're like, no. 30 minutes before
minimum.
Yeah.
45 is what I say.
Leave us alone.
45 minutes. Let me. Yeah, my family would be asking me questions. I'm like, I don't know, 7.5. Like, I don't know, like what's going on right now. But yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's a weird way to be, but at least I've figured it out. Some people I've realized they don't figure it out. I'm like, you need some sleep.
Yeah, you have to sleep at some time.
Yeah, you're
at some point.
I will call him an acquaintance back in the day who's like, I don't drink water. I live off Mountain Dew and Red Bull, and I don't require any sleep. I'm like, I bet you do. And yeah, he had some kidney issues. I'm sure you're very surprised to hear that.
Yeah, man, that's all I drink is water. I'm like.
You have water. I have some beer once in a while, but yeah, water and that's pretty much it.
Is it? Yeah.
Occasional. I have coffee when I come to Nashville. I don't usually have coffee.
Where do you go? Do you go to
I love Barista Parlor.
Whiskey. Okay.
Yeah.
Down there. If you go like $5 and.
I haven't been there. I'm so into Barista Parlors. They always have like an Ethiopian in there, and it's always coffee. That sounded weird.
Yeah. There's a lot here.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff here. No, they always have like an Ethiopian sourced coffee, and I love it. And I just can't seem to find that. Even in Portland, like it's Coffee Central. I'm sure I'm just not looking hard enough, but yeah, I always go to Barista Parlor when I come here.
Yeah, they have something there called, I think it's whiskey coffee. I can't remember. Derek from Rev. Always would get it. I don't think there's actually whiskey in it.
No, it's just a
maybe
flavor.
There is. Maybe that's why it's so good. It's really good.
Derek loves his whiskey in the morning. Derek from Rev, I assume.
Yeah. But yeah, he would. Like the first time I ever came to Nashville, I remember he like got the whiskey coffee and then $5 donuts is like a bakery. If you haven't been there,
I haven't.
Man, that's
gotta fix that.
You need that in your life.
I don't have a major sweet tooth. I when people are like, I want some donuts and don't get me wrong, I like it, but I'm always like, yeah, but what if I had another breakfast burrito instead?
I'm that way. Like both. I just keep talking about Gabby and Mason. They eat dessert first and then they eat their food.
Interesting.
Or they'll only eat dessert. I'm like, what? I want real food.
Yeah, give me steak.
Yeah, I want steak. I want a burger. I want and then give me like a Swedish fish, like one at the end. I'm like, that's it. Like I don't
need any more.
I'm good. Like, except cake. I love me some cake.
Do you like cake? I like a cheesecake.
Oh, I like cheesecake too.
Like especially one that's like not frosted or anything, just like good old, maybe some berry, like a tart berry, something. I love cheesecake, but yeah, normally. Just more of whatever the main course would be my dessert choice. Yeah.
Nope, I'm that way too. Except if you go to Cheesecake Factory, the classic bisque cheesecake. I can't remember what it is, but it is.
I don't know.
Incredible.
I haven't been to Cheesecake Factory in a while. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, it's been a long time.
Man, we love Cheesecake Factory, and there's there's none of them actually around us. You have to go all the way to Opry Mills, or Franklin, but. Yeah, that's one of our go-tos. Everyone's like, we should go to Cheesecake Factory. There's so many like better places around here. I'm like, dude, I'm a simple Ohio boy. Like, give me some Cheesecake Factory and I'm good.
So, in theory, this is a guitar show, and we have talked about guitars a fair bit, but more in the general sense of the term. Out of this arsenal that we are sitting around, do you have one right now that's like, I keep playing this one? I keep grabbing this one first. There's
kind of three of them. Well, I guess really two. Have you played any of the American Vintage 2 tellies.
Yes, it's been a little while, but yes.
The green one. Should I grab them?
Grab it. Yeah, we actually have cameras for this one. Let's do it. Yeah.
Should this? This one. As soon as I got it, and this was just I think the guys at Fender here in Nashville had this. It was like a showroom, so it was kind of like it had been dinged up or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that doesn't mean anything to me. I'm just gonna do that anyway.
I'm gonna ding it up.
Yeah. And then I got it. I'm like, this is like one of the best tellies I think Fender has made in a long time. I mean,
nice.
Maybe not custom shop or something like that, but I was blown away by this. And then I got super glue on it, and, and I took it into Glazier's, and I'm like, Nick, he's like, what? I'm like, I'm really stupid, and my switch tip kept falling off, so I put super glue on it. But then I laid the guitar down like this, and it ruined the switch and the volume knob.
It ruined the switch too?
Yeah, because the glue ran down in there, and this wouldn't turn, and it was the liquid, like the real wet super glue, so it just dried immediately, went down the body, and you can see the paint starting to peel off of it. And he's just like, please just don't put super glue on stuff anymore. I'm like, okay. And then,
what do they recommend for honestly, I probably would have considered that too, because like I don't want to do like JB weld or something on it, but like,
yeah, well, I think he was like, just get a new switch.
That's ridiculous.
he's like, we have cases of them in here. Like, I will give you one. Please don't put super glue on your stuff again. And it had a bender put in it.
Oh, I'm talking to him about it.
Are you? It's so cool.
I've never played a bender.
Oh, well, after we do this,
okay,
play a bender.
We're gonna do it. Oh, sounds so fun.
It's cool. Yeah. It's really, really cool. And then I sanded you can see how much lacquer there was on the neck. And then I sanded it all off and put gun stock oil. I can't remember what I have it in there.
Or tongue oil or something.
Tongue oil or something. Yeah, that's what it was, tongue oil.
Yeah.
And it just made it that, because like the neck is just awesome on it.
Oh man.
I mean, it's not light, but it's not.
That's not bad.
No.
Even with the bender in it, that's got to add some weight, right? So that's not bad, actually.
I think so.
Yeah. Well, that neck feels good.
Yeah, and I did a video. They let me record installing the bender and everything. It was really cool. I mean, it's so much work. If you haven't seen how they put in a bender, like
I have.
It's
Aaron, insane.
Yeah, Aaron. We were there for hours recording all this stuff.
Well, tell the folks about it. Like, how does it go in? Roughly.
So, like, if you see some benders, it's like the whole back is routed out and all that stuff. And the reason why I wanted the Glazier one is it just goes in, which I'm not going to hit the computer, right here.
Yeah.
And it's basically a huge drill bit, and it drills all the way through your guitar.
That's amazing.
On the inside, so like, you can't really see it.
Yeah.
And then in your neck plate, they route out a spot too where this goes in there, and it's just a cable that runs through your guitar, and then it's attached. They have to put a new saddle in here.
Sure.
And all it does is like, it's so unimpressive when you see what it does, because it's all of that just to move that one little thing. You can't see it in the video, but I'm like, all that work just for it to do that. And like, but then like the actual design of it is impressive. It's like super, super cool the way that Joe fine-tuned. Like, in the video, we go through all, like, Joe shows us like the first one he ever made and the progress, or how it went from. He's like, well, then I realized that this was a problem and this was and I'm like, you're just so smart, Joe Glazier.
Yeah, and it's so funny because it's like such a specific thing. Like, well, it was originally intended to mimic pedal steel, and it's like such a random thing that is so. It would seem like so nichey that like, is it really worth all this effort? But
and it's just
it's
so cool.
It's so good. Oh man, I love it.
Yeah, so this one's been kind of like a mainstay since I got it. I mean, I got it when those come out 2 years ago,
yeah,
something like that.
Yeah.
And I ended up, I'll tell you the truth, I liked this one so much. I had an old 58 Esquire, which was awesome.
I remember it.
Wicked guitar, got rid of it, sold it.
Really?
Because I liked this one so much, and I'm just like, I don't even play the Esquire.
It was just sitting?
Yeah, because I play this one so much. And then I took that and I bought the Firebird.
Yeah.
Behind me here.
That thing's gorgeous.
Yeah, so This is a 63, and it's so wiry and twingy sounding when it's plugged in to an amp.
Sure.
Right now, it just sounds like an unplugged electric. They all sound so similar.
What do you mean the tone sounds different? What do you mean? Yeah.
But
I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, I love that thing. It's fire. If anyone out there hasn't played a Firebird, just try one, and it's like super weird and awkward, and that's what I like about it. Because it's like you don't need another Tele if you've already got 5 of them. You don't need another Les Paul if you got 5 of them. Like get something different. Yeah, Same with the Explorer over there, which that one's having some issues. So.
I not super recently, but like within the last year, I got a Thunderbird bass.
Ooh,
and it's an Orville one, but I saw it at a shop in Portland, Paradise Guitars, and I was just like, ooh, that thing looks cool, and I picked it up and I was like, mine.
Thank you.
And every time I play it, I'm like, look at this giant piece of wood. It's so huge and awesome. Like, and it made me want a Firebird. Like, I know they're not the same thing, but kind of.
Well, I mean, I mean, basically, they, Firebirds are cool. I mean, I went through 3 different Firebirds. I had a 2017 normal, whatever it was called. I can't remember what it was called. And then I had the Murphy Lab, which I just recently sold, and then got a 335 with it. And then I got that one. And I'm like, oh, and they're all great. It's just that one was, I'm like, no, this one has the mojo in it.
Does if I'm trying to remember if I'm remembering this correctly, Firebird pickups are different than mini humbuckers. Is that correct? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so they're not mini humbuckers. I can't remember even what the difference is. They are different. Just trust me.
Robert said they're different. Yeah, so I have to believe him.
Well, it's kind of like Jazz Masters. Like people call them P90s, and it's like, well, they're not actually P90s,
right? And
they do a whole lot more than
they don't sound like it either. But I get it. Like when I first learned about Jazz Masters, I was like, are those P90s?
P90, yeah, me too. Yeah.
And in the from my understanding, and in this like Squire J. Mascis, they are, or something very similar to it. So, which are great. I actually really like those guitars, but they're not quite a Jazz Master if that's what you're really looking for.
No, I think if you want a Jazz Master, you just got to commit. Get the weird blend switches that you'll never use.
Oh, I use them.
Do you use them?
I use them. Yeah,
you're the guy.
I'm the guy.
You're the one. It's you.
They're so good for like droney fuzz stuff. Like you back it off there. I mean, you could kind of get similar results from rolling back the tone control on the normal circuit, but But I love the rhythm circuit with a fuzz and it just drones on in this weird way.
That's cool. Well, I guess because do they only have one tone knob? Is like a master tone? Oh, okay. Yeah. I guess I could see the use then. Like if you want to have where you switch between the two.
Exactly. Yep. And that was, I think, the original intention behind it. But a lot of people
Leo
just
Fender's
tape it down and they're like,
nah. That's fine. I'm like, I don't want that thing.
But speaking of the Jazz Master, the Bender reminded me of something that I was thinking about bringing up, and then we kind of switched gears. But since we're back to it, have you seen the Halon guitar parts? I think he's in Europe. So I think he's in Greece. I can't remember for. Don't quote me on that, but he's in Europe for sure.
Yeah.
He has a offset trem design that is so clever. I really want to try one like a long term. I tried it at NAMM, but I want to try it like on. I'm gonna probably order one here pretty soon. You can take any string and hardtail it, or put it on the trem and have kind of a palm bender situation.
Oh, so like you could have like all the strings except for the B hardtail.
Yep, exactly.
And then you'd hit the bar and it only bends. Wow.
And it's super easy. It's not hard to do. If you look at the design of the trem, it just you just bring it down to a hardtail slot instead.
Yeah.
Or you bring it all the way through. And I didn't know this until after the fact, but I guess he was inspired by something that Ryan Burke said somewhere. And it was like, wouldn't it be cool if there was a way you could do this? And he was like, I think there is a way you could do this. And
like, actually.
Yeah. And I tried it on a guitar that Ty over at Shock the Fox built, and he had it at NAMM, and it was like, this is a great idea. And so fun.
I'm just thinking of like how cool it would be to play chords and have notes that are stationary,
Yeah.
and then notes that have the trim in them.
Exactly.
Huh.
Yeah. It's like, it's not confusing. You just look at it and you know how to do it.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, drag that down to the slot. Like when you don't even have to mod your guitar.
That's
really.
smart.
Even if you had a Jazzmaster, you just wanted to try it. You just unscrew it,
Just
screw it
do
in. And if you don't like it, that didn't work for me. Put it back.
Yeah.
It's really clever. I want to live with one for a while because I had a Jazzmaster made by Carmine Street Guitars, which they normally make tellies, but I just really wanted a Jazzmaster, and so for my 30th birthday, my family went all together and got this thing for me. And I'd never lived with a standard Jazzmaster system.
Right.
I'd only had the Masteries. And so I was like, I want to live with the normal one and see what it's all about. And I'm like, oh, I sure wish I didn't do that. Admittedly, it's the cheaper one, like the more generic parts one. So maybe an official Fender one would be better, but I don't love it. I wish it had something else. So I'm gonna try the Halon on there just to see, because
I mean, that sounds. People are so smart. They're so smart.
I wish I was that smart.
I'm so dumb.
It's one of those things too. You see it and you're like, well, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, like how has it taken this long?
Yeah, why didn't Leo think of that? He was so like, he's a genius, obviously. But I'm like, that is better.
Yeah.
know?
I'm working on a video with. Do you know Zach Childs?
I do know the name.
YouTube. He knows like everything there is to know about Telecasters.
Oh yes, yes.
Super cool guy.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We're working on a video about tellies. I want to do one called "Everything Wrong with the Telecaster."
Oh,
which people will be upset, but it's just all the things that Leo changed. Like he only changed it if he thought it could be better or something was wrong. And then Sweetwater let me get a ASAT
okay,
for the video, and I'm like, oh, because it's got like these giant, P90. They're not P90s. They're like the Leo's wide range pickups. I can't remember what he called them.
I know what you're talking about, but
There's
I can't remember
some
either.
weird name for them, but it's awesome. I'm like, oh, these are cool. I mean, they're like, a little ugly, but but they sound really good.
It's one of those things too. Like if for some reason, say the ASAT came first, and that's what we grew up seeing. Yep. Would we think it was ugly?
Probably not.
Probably not. Probably like, look at this weird plank of wood. What's a Telecaster?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like, I mean, just P90s in general. I used to hate the way that I'm like, P90s and a Les Paul is the ugliest thing.
Oh, you didn't like it?
I hated it forever. And then one day I was just like, I really want a gold top with P90s in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, it's amazing. I love them.
I've always loved aesthetically the P90s and the gold top. I think that's just like, it's just classy. I like humbuckers, generally speaking, in Les Pauls, but something about a gold top to me looks better with P90s.
Yeah, I don't care for like deluxes with the mini humbuckers in there. I still don't.
I think I'm just a Les Paul sucker, and if it says Les Paul, and I'm like, yeah,
I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm in.
I like it all. Yeah, specials, deluxes, whatever. Give it all to me. I love them.
Yeah, I'll take them off.
Yeah,
send them.
Yes, more, please.
Yeah. The well then, okay. So, question for you.
Okay.
Pickguard on or off on a Les Paul?
I know this is controversial.
It is, I'm not saying that everything hinges on if I delete all this footage or not.
Okay.
I just need to know the answer to this.
All right, let me tell you this, and I don't want you to think that I'm being like weak of constitution when I say this, okay? Yes.
I'm out of here.
I like them both.
I like them both.
I like them both. It just depends on the guitar. Like on a custom, I think yes. But on like a special, no.
Yeah, I like black Les Pauls without the pickguard on them. But to me, like on my KM, I don't know where it is. Oh, it's right there. Like, it just the faded kind of like grungy looking plastics on it. I'm like, I don't know. I think it looks.
Let's see it.
It looks cool.
Let's take a look.
Yeah. So, and this is the other guitar. So the Tele and this one are the two main guitars I've been playing. Which I mean, I've had this thing for 11, 12 years, whatever it is. But I see it. And
I see what you're saying. It looks like a lot of brown plastic.
Yeah.
Especially maybe. But what if what if those humbuckers were covered? Would you feel differently?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, because I think it's just like a lot. Like this is going to be a weird reference, that very few people will get. But I put side pipes on my Camaro but it had a chrome strip that went above them, and I was like, if I'm gonna put the chrome side pipes on, I have to get rid of that chrome. It's too much.
Yeah.
So I got rid of the chrome strip and added the chrome side pipes, and I feel like if those were like a faded or like a brushed nickel cover, you might feel differently about the pickguard.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, like I said, I'm just like, I don't know. It's been together the whole time. I don't want to ever take it apart.
No, I get it.
But yeah, because I mean, it was pretty mint when I got it. The only thing it had wrong with it was it had some like guitar stand burns. Like whoever hung this had it in a not nitro friendly case. But I don't know where to set this thing.
We're just laying guitars willy-nilly around
Everyone's
the studio.
Gonna be like, you laid the Les Paul down? I'm like, yeah, well, I'm not an idiot. I'm not going to step on it.
But I am. And who knows what could happen. No, it's, yeah, I know it's a controversial thing. I know Derek very much doesn't like him, and I'll pretend to be against him on the internet just to be obstinate. But, like, I'm just like, it depends.
Yeah.
Because, like, my special doesn't have one, and I wouldn't put one on it. It would look stupid. But my custom has one, and I think it looks great. So...
Yeah, I mean, I leave the pickguard on my gold top.
And juniors, you gotta have one.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine.
How does he feel about a junior? Does he even like juniors? Derek, call me.
He's Derek. Who even knows?
Who knows what he even likes? He doesn't even know what he likes.
You know what?
Are you gonna call him?
Let's just...
Give him a buzz. Oh, we're doing it. We're doing it, folks. Will he?
What a jerk.
Did he ignore you?
He's not going to answer. He's got this whole idea for this video he's doing, and he's going to Lana McQuaid, and he's borrowing a greenie Les Paul.
Oh, all right. Well, he didn't answer you. Maybe he'll answer me. Then we'll really give it to him. Yeah.
He's just going to be like, I don't answer that long hair. that American boy, I don't like him.
That American. Wait.
I like he's calling me.
Oh, he is? Okay. Here we go.
Hello?
Hello? What's going on here?
Why did it just say Blake is trying to FaceTime?
Hold it up to the mic.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're talking about pick guards on Les Pauls.
No.
But here's the thing. Les Paul Juniors, how do you feel?
Oh, man.
Like deep thought.
He's really going for it.
Yeah. Well, I don't have a junior, so I don't really know. I feel like I don't hate it because it's different, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's flat to the body, right?
It is.
I think that's part of my thing about it is I don't like the fact that the Les Paul or the Lucille or like 335s are not flat to the body.
Okay.
Okay.
That's part of it.
All right. We found some common ground here.
All right.
Yeah. So I got to say I'm kind of indifferent because I don't own one, but I don't hate it.
Okay.
Okay.
But
You heard it here first. Derek likes Les Pauls with pick guards.
To notice that these two wonderful Pauls have no pick guards.
You took it off of the greenie?
No, it comes that way. Look, the real one. No holes, bud.
Wow.
Holes. The way it should be.
All right. Later.
Later.
Yeah, see you guys.
Bye.
Yeah, see ya.
That was a good guest appearance. And I like that he was extra confused when I started calling at the same time. It's like, they couldn't possibly have joined forces against me.
We are together.
So do you feel strongly about it either way? Obviously, you've got some pick guarded Les Pauls in here. So.
I mean, like, as a joke to mess with Derek. I don't honestly care. At the end of the day, I like a pick guard for a practical reason, though.
Oh, okay.
Like, whenever I pick, my fingers hit it. So, like, if I'm playing, like, my fingers are on it while I'm picking.
Right.
And if it's not there, it messes my hand up.
Okay.
Because my fingers are further down.
Right.
So it's strictly just like...
Because you like to... It's like a guidepost kind of type
Yeah,
of thing.
my pinky is almost like anchored right here a lot when I play it. So if the pick guard's not there, it makes me hold my pick differently.
I've seen people do that with anchor their pinky when there's no pick guard on the pickup ring.
Right here?
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm like on the corner of the pickup ring, but this stops it. So then whenever you drop down like that eighth of an inch or whatever it is, I'm just like, what's wrong with this Les Paul?
Something's happening.
Yeah.
Well, I think we got to the bottom of that. I think we solved that problem.
And we found some common ground.
And we did. Look at this.
Les Paul, look.
The world is coming together, folks.
Everything's
just like
good.
we knew it could.
We're good. We're good.
Well, dude, I've already asked you the classic questions. You've been on before, so maybe we already answered this question, but I feel like I need to mix it up a little bit before we wrap this episode up.
Sure.
So, now that you're in Nashville, you've been here for a while now. What is your favorite restaurant?
Oh, I'll tell you what. There's a restaurant. It's kind of over in Madison, called Green Chili.
Chili.
If you like Indian food.
Oh, and I do.
Oh, it's so. There's another place called Cafe Rocca in Hendersonville, and over in Madison there's one called Green Chili, and it is the best. I mean, I think it's the best like chicken tikka masala I've ever had. And what's the bread?
Naan bread?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never had better than what they have. Like, I could have almost just eaten that. I'm like, this is so good.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had some friends tell me, like, we need to go to Green Chili. And I went there. And I'm like, all right. Address saved in my phone.
Oh, man. I got another place to add to my list of Nashville restaurants to try.
It's so good. Or if you want, like, the more, like, standard, like, I'm like a sucker for Martin's and Edley's. I mean, I like all that. It's like,
you know what I really like at Edley's? Like, the barbecue's good, but I prefer Martin's if I'm going strictly on the barbecue.
Yeah.
I love the catfish tacos at Edley.
Oh.
Yeah. Catfish tacos at Edley are so good. Yeah.
Man, we had really good fish tacos at, it was on the lake. What was it called? Man, I can't remember. If I asked my wife, she would know. I don't know, but it was like amazing fish tacos.
All right.
Like real fish. Like they caught it in the lake that you're eating. They're like, yeah, there's like in the lake here. And like I was like, don't tell anybody.
You just told so many people.
Yeah.
But you don't know where.
I don't know the restaurant.
You don't know the restaurant. It's a mystery.
I wonder where that restaurant is.
It could be somewhere on a lake.
Yeah, I'm just joking. Oh, I remember the name of the restaurant. I don't know about catching it in the lake. I was just making that up.
I believed you.
I was just joking. It's called Rudder.
Rudder.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it was cool. It is on the lake. The restaurant, that wasn't a lie. Maybe everything else was.
The whole podcast
was a lie.
Wow.
But yeah, they had the best fish tacos and the worst hamburger I've ever had in my entire life.
Not a surf and turf spot.
No.
Okay.
Again, amazing. And they had it's called like Bang Bang Shrimp.
Okay.
Really good. Fish tacos really good. Do not get a burger
Don't
there.
get the burger at Rudder's.
It was charcoal. Like,
stick to the fish.
yeah. I don't know how they're so good at one thing and so bad at the other, but, sorry, Rudder.
This episode not sponsored by Rudder.
Yeah.
But also kind of?
Kind of, yeah. I just remember the waitress telling me, she's like, how do you want your burger cooked? And usually I'm like, you want a burger cooked all the way through. Do you go medium?
I go medium rare.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
I'd always heard.
I know you're not supposed to do that.
I was gonna say, I always
do
heard you weren't supposed to because a steak is different.
Yes.
But on burger meat, since it's been exposed to the air and all that kind of stuff.
Because it's all mixed together and, there's a potential for, like, the outside of the steak keeps the inside safe.
Safe,
yes.
yeah. And you cook the outside is the most exposed and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Steak talk.
Burger, not the same.
Yeah, so
but I still risk it and go medium.
Do you?
Rare.
Yeah. So I was like, well, I just want it like cooked all the way through. And she's like, you usually want to get it a few steps down from like wherever you want it. She goes, they tend to overcook them. I'm like, well, then medium. And it was like the most well done. Like I couldn't even eat it. I'm like,
wow.
Like, what do I have to do?
She knew like it's gonna be. So you probably should have got it medium rare, and it would have been maybe well done.
Yeah. Like who knows?
How do you? But then what if you like it? I mean, you shouldn't eat rare burgers probably. But what if you like it rare, and then you're like, just don't cook it, and then maybe it'll be medium rare. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll tell you, he has good burgers. Sorry, I know this has just turned into a food podcast.
Shocking! This has turned into a food podcast yet again. I'm so surprised.
Edley's has
Oh.
a really good smash burger.
Okay.
Burgers are like my favorite thing.
I love burgers.
It's like my mission to go around to all the burger places in
So you've been to
Nashville.
Pharmacy then?
I've never been to Pharmacy because those are like fancy burgers.
They're so good though.
Are they?
Yeah.
So I've heard everyone say they're good. I'm not into like any kind of fancy burger. I want it to be the most basic, like Five Guys or Joyland. Have you been to Joyland?
I love Joyland.
Joyland is the best straight up just burger.
I love Joyland.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't need any 15 sauces on the burger. I'm like, I just want to actually taste the burger.
Mm-hmm.
And Joyland has it. Edley's had like a surprisingly good burger. Where else did we just go? We just went axe throwing. Blue Buffalo? I don't know. It was a restaurant attached to this place called Bad Axe.
Okay.
And it was a great burger. I was like not expecting anything, and I'm like, this was a good burger.
All right.
So
I'm with you on the burgers. I as much as I talk about pizza, I have a deep love for burgers, but I'm like very mood based with it. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, give me the one with the hatch chilies and all this fancy stuff and like get crazy with it. Sometimes I'm like, give me that diner special.
yeah,
you know,
that's what I want.
Yeah, I like both, but it just depends on how I'm feeling at the moment. So
Do you have what's your favorite pizza place?
here,
Everyone says 5 Points.
5 Points is really good. That's a good like crowd pleasing, like you can't go wrong with 5 Points.
I haven't scoped out the pizza sitch.
I've heard. I have not been yet. I don't know if I'm going to get to today or tomorrow. I'm trying to get to. Tomorrow's a little bit up in the air, but I've heard Pinky Ring's really good.
I haven't heard.
But
of
I've
that.
never been there. I think it's in Madison too, if I remember correctly.
Is it?
Don't quote me on that, but Pinky Ring Nashville, it'll tell you.
Yeah.
I've heard that's really good. But there's a place called Bella Napoli in town that has they're an Italian like wood fired restaurant.
Oh, cool.
And their pizza is really good. They have a 4 cheese one that's so intense. That's so delicious.
So with pizza, are you kind of like you just want plain simple?
Well, that's how I gauge a place.
Yeah.
Like that's how I'm like, how good are you? How good is your cheese slice?
Yeah.
But not necessarily. I'll go crazy with toppings. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite kind? Are you like more New York?
That's my
Chicago,
go-to.
New York?
Like New York style is my go-to. I love like Italian wood-fired style ones when they're done well too. And this place does a really good job. They also have, and I'm not even a big lasagna guy. Like I like it, but my wife loves lasagna. She'll order it everywhere, anywhere. But this place, Bella Napoli's lasagna,
Really?
is incredible. Man. Yeah. Absolutely. If you go there, my suggestion is to get one person, whoever's in the mood for what. One person get the lasagna, one person get the quattro formaggi pizza, maybe share a little bit. You'll be happy.
Have you heard of a place Bricks?
Bricks. I don't know Bricks.
Okay. It's all wood fired like that. Some of their pizzas haven't been the best, but they have like a barbecue chicken pizza.
That's I can get down on a barbecue chicken pizza, but if it's like, let's say you're at a party and there's a bunch of pizzas there, it's the last one I'm gonna grab.
You're like
It's not that I don't like it, but I'm like, well,
is it pizza? Because
I feel the same way about it that I feel about like taco pizzas. Like I'm like, if I wanted barbecue chicken, I would get barbecue chicken.
Yeah.
If I wanted a taco, I would get a taco. I want
Don't
pizza.
put it on the pizza.
Yeah. But it's not that I don't like it. It's not that it's not good, because they're both good. It's just if I'm in the mood for pizza, I want pizza.
yeah, I guess there's typically not actual like marinara sauce on there. It's always replaced with the barbecue.
Yeah, because it might be weird with marinara.
Yeah.
I think maybe. I don't know.
Sauces, they don't get along.
And with that, I think we're gonna wrap this up. What do you think?
Nice. I like it.
We got lost in the sauce, folks.
Hey, that's what happens.
That's right.
Talking pizza.
Yes, still packing. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video. I really, really enjoy every conversation I have with Robert, and if you want, make sure you go check out the old episode that I did with him a few years ago if you want to get to know the dude a little bit better. Obviously, he's super cool. What was that sound? Well, that's going to be interesting. Anyway, yeah, thank you for watching this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And if you want more content every week, make sure you check out the audio podcast where I have over 400 episodes waiting for your ears. Thank you very much, folks. Later.